Do you remember Expo 67? I do not. I was not alive. Many people do. Many people have fond memories. Many people would like to recreate those memories again in this century. Chief among them is Marvin Rotrand, City Councillor for Snowden. Hi, Marvin.
Hi, Elias.
How you doing?
Good. I like that Bobby Gimby song from Expo 67 they just played.
At least you know it, because I had no idea what it was. But
Hey, this is not nostalgia, by the way.
It isn't. Okay, well, then make the case.
Well, look, okay. Expos, unlike Olympic Games, usually have a positive economic spin-off. They put cities on the map. They relaunch the whole way the world looks at particular cities. For example, 2020 is going to be a huge expo in Dubai, and they're using that to reinvent themselves. United Arab Emirates after oil.
Marvin, Dubai is like, they've got all the money in the world. The toilets are plated in gold in Dubai. I don't know if I want,
exaggeration, but I'll accept part of your argument. Yeah. But however, look, what I'm trying to say is that expos can change the way the world perceives of a city. And that's what happened in Montreal in 1967. We got a lot of positives out of the 67 Expo. It wasn't only that it was Canada's centennial year, but we became a major world player. Out of it, we got the Montreal Metro, Habitat 67, Ile Notre Dame. We got some bad stuff like the Autoroute de Carrie, but we also got some other stuff. We got a Major League Baseball team, the Montreal Expos, and all of that was connected to the investments in the Expo. And that particular expo was one of the most successful ever. There was almost 51 million people who came and attended, and a large number of them were tourists. Now, There was a lot of spending, a lot of economic spin-offs, but Montreal became the center of Canada, the real center of Canada for a while.
But it also
came, 67.
Marvin, it also came at a time when we didn't have not just internet. We didn't have cable TV. We didn't have, the fast access we have to information now. One of the things about Expo is great because you get to see things and things that were being developed and newfangled things. And it was an interesting place to be. Now in this environment, we know what's happening. We know about the latest technologies, what's happening in different parts of the world. So it doesn't have the same sort of cachet as the only place to go.
I hear that argument, and I accept that argument. Expos have got to evolve with the time as well. It isn't just a physical location with a lot of pavilions. Look, our Expo had 62 countries and about 70 pavilions, and actually our Expo, while Montrealers thought it was really, really great, lost money. But despite the fact that it actually lost money, it gave us a lot of spin-offs. Other expos, by the way, have made a profit. But what I think has to happen is the themes have to evolve with the times. Since I raised the idea, I originally raised this in 2016 when Toronto Council unexpectedly voted against submitting a bid. They had done a couple of studies which showed that for a modest investment of about $1.5 billion, that they would actually turn a profit and have a lot of tourism and repositioning of Toronto in a positive way internationally. So the business community and the arts community and a number of councillors said, let's go ahead. Mayor Tory changed his mind in a very close way. They voted no. So I raised it at Montreal Council. I said, hey, there's no Canadian bidder for 2025. How about us? Mayor Coderre blocked that. He wasn't interested. I think he was supporting Paris. Paris dropped out 3 months later. I didn't have the opposition party, Projet Montréal, in favor of it, so it went absolutely nowhere. But soon afterwards, Osaka, which had the 1970 World's Fair, won the 2025 bid, and that got me thinking, look, we have all the time necessary to develop some good ideas that are innovative, cutting edge. I've been bombarded with people, ordinary citizens, saying this is a great idea. Everything from let's talk about the technologies of the future, and I get a lot of flying cars and new types of mobility
stuff that was showed off in the 1967 fair, I would imagine.
Well, look, for me, much of this is great idea, but however, by 2030, it's probably going to be our reality anyway.
But Marvin,
Uber self-driving cars will probably be there. So
yeah, but I have to ask you this.
Different.
I have to ask you this, Marvin, because it's well known that you're not running again for elected office. You said this is it, you're done. So to me, I'm like, okay, Marvin Rotrand, great idea, but you're going to be on some beach in Bora Bora enjoying the retired life while we all pay the bill.
Well, I do have the right to retire one day. I got to tell you this, though. I am getting an awful lot of people asking me to run in 2021, and a lot of people who feel there's got to be a voice of reason between the big parties at City Council. So let's just leave that aside and call it.
Wait a minute. You can't leave that aside. It just sounds to me like you're not retiring.
But But I want to get back to this expo. Look, I had come up with some ideas that some people thought were interesting, need to be pursued. You don't need a physical location per se. It could be a moving expo on high-speed rail and high-speed transit. It can be something that's interactive, allowing citizens to define the future, which might be beyond the nation state. There are different types of ideas that have never been done before that could be the basis of a completely different type of expo. It's not up to me. All I'm saying at this point is we need to consider some sort of bid for North America, because there hasn't been one in North America since Vancouver in 1986.
And the one in Vancouver was a financial fiasco. And I don't think
True, but
I know you can bring up Dubai.
The one in Shanghai made a lot of money, and not only did it make money, it also gave them 6 new metro lines. It also
but it happened in China
for their airport.
That was in China, which has a much different economic system. And if they want to snap their fingers and say we're making metro lines and then not include that in the whole costing of the event, they can do that, right? It's a big difference than North America.
Would you have canceled Expo 67 if you had known that it was going to lose $225 million in 1967 dollars?
No, because we'd never done it before. And now I'm looking back, and I don't know, we want to repeat the process. I don't know. That is the answer to your question.
Look, I think whether it makes or loses some money isn't really the question. The question is, what does it give you? I see Olympic Games as a sort of like a 2-week orgy where there's huge amounts of money for bread and circuses, and it doesn't give you very much in the long run.
And it all goes to the IOC, and nothing comes back to the city. So I completely agree on that.
Montreal, as you know, is going to get 3 games for the World Cup of soccer in a couple of years from now. We spent a fortune on that.
Yeah, it's insane.
And it's not going to give us the type of thing that a World's Fair does. Yeah. A World's Fair allows you to attract the attention of the world in a way the others do not, and it's a long-term benefit. And every fair over the last 100 years has had some sort of positive spin-off, whether it's cultural, whether it's economic, whether it's repositioning a city as a tourist hub, whether it attracts new investment. All of them have positive things, and the things that are iconic in cities like Seattle, the Seattle Tower, that came from their World's Fair. The other types of things like sporting events for the Super Bowl or Olympic Games tend to saddle you with monuments to the gargantuan that people afterwards say cost a fortune and gives us little benefit.
Marvin Rotrand, always real fun talking to you. I'll let you know that on our text line, people are passionate about this, and many of them are against it, and some people are for it. But they're passionate about this. They like this. I'm gonna make sure we talk about this again on the show. Okay?
I'm just going to finish by saying
that you're running in 2021. I know.
I want to raise this at City Council.
Yeah.
So I wrote to both Mayor Valerie Plante and Opposition Leader Leonel Perez. Mr. Perez got back to me and said he's very open to a pre-feasibility study to at least give us the preliminary numbers so we can make a recent choice. And that's all I'm asking. I have not heard back from Valerie Plante, even I wrote to her on January 30th about this. So the ball's in her court.
We'll see what happens on that end. Thanks for the time, Marvin. We'll talk real soon.
Take care. Bye-bye.